Have you ever pulled a carrot too early, picked a melon that wasn't sweet, or wondered if your fruit tree was really ready? Today, we're diving into the secrets of knowing exactly when to harvest your crops, what to do with underripe produce, and the easiest ways to preserve your harvest so nothing goes to waste. Team replay. What crop do you find the trickiest to know when it's ready to harvest? I'd love to hear your answers in the comments. Let's get into perennial fruit trees. When to harvest. Apples. Firm. On the inside, if you cut it open, the seeds would be brown and the fruit will easily come off of the tree. Now, when you have European pears, like Bartlett, Bosc, Anjou, etc., you can pick them when firm before they're fully ripe. They ripen best off the tree at room temperature. So this one's still pretty hard. And why do we do that? If left too long on the tree, the inside can turn mealy before the outside looks ripe. Storage can be stored cool. So, refrigerator, I believe, would be okay. Now, Asian pears are a different story. Nashi, I can't remember the varieties that I have growing at my garden, but the ripening is different for those pears. They must ripen on the tree. Once picked, they will not continue to ripen or get sweeter. So, signs of ripeness for those: full, rich color depends on variety, golden, greenish yellow, or a russet tone. They lift easily from the branch with a slight twist, and you'll be able to smell an aroma develops when they're ready. How do we store it? They store well in the fridge for months because of their crisp texture. There was a fellow talking about, I feel like it was over 6 months, his Asian pears were in his fridge. Now, we are going to talk about some superpowers and ways to use things that maybe have been wind fallen, or maybe you bumped it, you gave a little elbow nudge as we talk. So if it feels like I'm going fast, there's more. There's also links in the description for how to harvest, preserve, store things. There's going to be links to how to use things that are underripe, so make sure you fish around in there. Peaches and plums. Peaches. I just have to show you the peach. I don't have a plum. Slight give when pressed, full color, aromatic smell. Now, figs droop slightly on the branch, soft when squeezed, and the skin may crack. Whoops. This is live. Underripe use. So, apple and pear slices for chutney or pickling. Trust your ball canning book, a home preserving book, maybe grandma's recipe's been passed on to you. Green plums for jam or tart relishes. Figs picked early can be roasted with honey. Preservation. Now, I am going to go over a preservation tip as we go. Canning slices, the jams, the chutneys, freezing fruit as slices or purees, and then dehydrating for snacks. I'm actually running my smart oven on the dehydrator setting with just one tray, and I've never done this before. I cut a cherry tomato or like a grape tomato. It was actually a pretty decent size, in half. And we're on like hour 14, 16 at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm waiting for them to get dry. What I want to do is put them in olive oil in a jar and put them in the fridge. Okay, so bonus uses for underripe apples: pickled apple slices, tangy and country. Country? Crunchy. Oi. I need to eat some soup, okay? Apple chutney with spices, roasted green apples as a side dish. Now, we also have other things that we can do with underripe apples as a pectin substitute. Why this works. Pectin levels are highest in fruit before it's fully ripe. As apples ripen, the pectin breaks down, the fruit will soften. So there is procedures on how to use underripe apples as a pectin substitute. There are links in the description to explain this process. You can either make a pectin and process it and preserve it, or you can use it as you're making the product, the jam or jelly. So the apples that are green or underripe that have the secret superpower is the very high in pectin, which helps your gut and is perfect for jam thickening. Now, someone was talking about this in a preserving chat, and they tried it They made homemade pectin with the underripe apples in a pie filling, and no one said what the procedure was that they did to make the pectin or how much they used in their recipe, but it wasn't thick enough. So it's different than when you use powdered pectin. Experiment with it if you dare. Unusual uses: pickle them, roast, or blend into green smoothies or juice them. So you can freeze apples and blend them in a smoothie, no problem. You can juice apples in like an immersion, what is mine called? Mm, masticating juicer with other things. So I'm sure some of you have experienced the underripe apple fiasco. Now, berry bushes, when to harvest. There's blueberries, deep uniform color, no green at the stem end. I wish my blueberries were producing. They are not happy, I guess. They've only been in the ground 2 years now, and they were in a container before that. So throw out your ideas as we go. Chat is going to be on the replay, so read through everybody's knowledge and experiences, because I don't really have that much experience. I am just basing this talk on research that I've done, and my sources are linked in the description. So blackberries will be glossy to dull. That's how we are supposed to know how to harvest them. Now, Robin Gardens would be an expert at how to know when to harvest blackberries. Check out her channel. I see she's in the chat. Uh, they should pull off easily. Raspberries, I do have experience with. Detach easily when tugged. You just go like this and it'll come off, and that means it's ready. It'll have a different color. You'll just know it. What's too bright, what's just right, and what's too dark, right? Elderberries I harvested for the first time, and it's so exciting. Fully purple black, not green, never green. Okay, so if something's underripe, uses for that. Sour berries can be used in syrups or fermented into shrub drinks. If you don't know what a shrub drink is, there are recipes linked in the description on how to make that. Slightly underripe berries make tangy jams, and for preservation, you can freeze them flat on a tray, flash freeze them for an hour, and then put them in a freezer safe container of your choice. Great for smoothies, great for making a pie in the winter or a Pop Tart, right? Jam and jelly making. You can also dry it into fruit leather. I have never made fruit leather, believe it or not. Okay, on the list. I feel like if any of this is juiceable, I could also make gummies. Annual crops are a little bit more tricky to judge readiness. So root crops like carrots, you're looking at that top shoulder of what's peeking out of the ground. Now, I didn't harvest any carrots for you today, but I do have some in the ground. I would like them to be kissed by frost first, and it's not going to be a great year. I'm just going to say that right now. The top shoulders, a half inch to 1 inch across. And then you can get your method of choice to help loosen the ground to pull a carrot out. Just test a few, a couple, a patch, right? We don't need to go hog wild right away. Beets. Depends on what size you want, honestly. Uh, some people like them smaller, what is it, golf ball size, and some people want them bigger and fatter and meatier. Depends on what you're going to do with it. Are you going to grill it or roast it or juice it or pickle it and preserve it somehow? You'll be able to see them visible out of the soil. Potatoes is happening. So we picked potatoes today, the first batch that we planted, and I'm very impressed. We had 2 varieties, and instead of planting them in the regular garden that is for annual crops, we put them in the food forest. So it was the one in the west, which has full sun and has wood chips, and we didn't bury them very deep, but I just top dressed them with compost. And I don't water that garden. Only the earth does. And so that was the first harvest. So how do we know when to do it? You can time it 2 to 3 weeks after flowering. But what I do is I wait till the foliage dies back. So all those green leaves are going to turn yellow and bend over and lay on the ground. And that tells me we're ready. Now, garlic and onions, I didn't have such a great year with those. Come on, buddy. Leaves begin to yellow and fall over. So depending on what types you're growing, You kind of learn it as you grow when something's fully ready, and then to cure it for storage. Now, does that mean you can't pick something before that? No, you can. It's just called new or early or baby. It's still food, right? If you need something right now, you just go and get it. Fruiting crops like melons. Everybody, I grew a watermelon. It is so exciting. This is my second one. This is a bigger one. And how did I know? How did I know it needed to be picked and ate? Well, let's see. There's a spot color on them usually, depends on the variety, I feel like, where it'll turn yellow or tan. Okay. Uh, Cantaloupes I didn't have very good luck with. They were starting to rot in the soil in the patch. I'm not the best at figuring that part out. So, okay, slip test on cantaloupes, no clue what that means. Mine were starting to explode and rot. So, cantaloupes, how to know when it's ripe? Somebody help me out. Some of them will change from green to yellow, or you'll be able to smell it, I think, are the clues. But the watermelon, dull skin, brown dry tendril near the fruit. So the curly-Q thing will crisp up and dry and brown. There'll be a yellow spot on it, and there's a knock sound trick. Anybody? What should it be? Let me know. Corn. The silk turns brown, kernels milky when pierced. Winter squash has a hard rind. This is actually from last year. I haven't harvested squash yet this year. It's in the butternut family, so it's either butterbush or honey nut. It's like more personal size. So the hard rind cannot puncture with a fingernail, and you want to wipe it down with apple cider vinegar when you put it in your storage area. Leafy crops like lettuce or spinach, you pick them before they bolt. You know, when that center stalk it gets thick and elongates and it's creeping up and it's gonna flower, don't we're done with it. Just let it go. Cabbage, the head will firm to squeeze. Broccoli, tight heads, harvest before the yellow flowers open. Like it's one giant flower, right? So we're picking it before it gets to that stage. And then what if it's underripe? We have all kinds of tricks that we're going to lay out. And I'm going to come into the chat. I see everyone talking. Thank you for being here. Green tomatoes. I'm sure there's lots of ideas in the chat. We do have a link to I like 15. I think one recipe has 15 different things to make with green tomatoes. One might be 10. Links are in the description. Fried, pickled, or chutney. And I'm going to talk more about what if tomatoes are picked too early, because that happens. Like I've got one right here, green tomato that should have stayed on the plant. But you know what? It's not. It's here now. There's another one. There's another one. It happens, okay? So let's talk about small cucumbers. Well, if you catch them small, mine seem to get big. You can make pickles. Your immature squash you can add to stir fries. Oh, I elbowed the stand. I do have some summer squash sitting here. This is Magda and this is Patty Pan. I pick them small, young, immature, possibly, we would say. Grated into baking things, preservation, freezing blanched vegetables is kind of a go-to for some of these, like the corn, the beans, the broccoli, and then pickling either with a vinegar brine or fermentation salt water. Cucumbers, green beans, onions, the root cellar, of course. Now, if you don't have a root cellar, I have a link in the description that talks about how to store things without a root cellar. So check that out if that feels like that would speak to you. Potatoes, carrots, beets, and squash, and then the fermentation. It's not just sauerkraut, kimchi, and pickles. Fermentation goes much, much wider than that, just so you know. So these tomatoes, when they're picked too early, maybe there was a storm. Maybe there was a child helper. Maybe it was you. It knocked it over. If green but mature, so full size and slightly glossy, you can ripen it indoors. You can place it in a paper bag with a banana or an apple for the ethylene gas to speed up ripening. I've just put them in a dark cabinet. I don't bag them. I just lay them in a tray. And so when we do our final harvest before a frost comes, I might still have tomatoes ripening for Thanksgiving time. The windowsill method is putting it in indirect light but not direct sun. So a window that's not on the south side of your house. Don't do that, which can toughen skin. If very underripe, like small, hard, and pale green, cook with them. Fried green tomatoes, green tomato relish, or chutney, use it up right away because it usually will um, like go mushy and bad faster, right? So the tomatoes green when they're underripe. Some tomatoes are meant to be green. Okay. The superpower, lower sugar, higher acidity, good for digestion, unusual uses. The fried green tomatoes, the chutneys, the green tomato salsa. There are plenty of recipes in the description for what to do with green tomatoes because I feel like it's a really popular thing that happens in the garden, right? Robin Garden says fruit leather is so great. Need those silicone trays with a little edge to be able to spread it out for dehydrating. Your kids would love them. I would like a dehydrator and all of the fun things that go with it. DCB says my green bean plants are half the size bushes they had been in years past. Not a good bean situation. Okay. Your plants seem stunted. Do you think it's because you weren't having heat and now you are having heat and maybe things are going to take off? Or was there something that happened that you applied to your garden that's affecting your crops? Yes, PSA here, DCB says, do not eat underripe elderberries. They will make your tummy upset quick. Yes, so we need them to be purple and juicy. Jay is requesting that I should consider poetry, ASMR, and visual art for happier blueberries. We're listing all the apple things: applesauce, apple butter, apple cider, of course. Bowtie has a tip: harvest blueberries and blackberries when they come off the vine easily. I did see Radio Jonesy is in here. Good to see you. I did leave you a comment that for your live after this show, if there's a setting you can find where it lets me redirect, give me permission to redirect, I can do that for you. But if we can't figure it out, I've left it pinned in the chat. That's if you're still going live after this. I assume you are. Thank you for saying I have a nice melon. I am really extra proud of it. And I think there's 15 more out there, and I'm going to eat this with a spoon. I've got it right here. And I'm saving the seeds, right? DCB says yellow jackets will cut the sides of the rind for the juice. If you see a good yellow spot and slits, the bees are going after it. Knock, knock, who's there? Watermelon joke. Oh, my phone isn't in here. There was a joke, no, a poem in the curriculum that I was working with for my oldest today, and I took a picture of it to read to you all here, and it'll have to be on a different show, maybe our game time show, because I have a game night planned coming up. Rats. Okay, DCB says the sound I listen for when we're knocking on the melon is a deep knock. Like a thump more than a knock. Okay. Robin Garden says Lovely Greens channel green tomato chutney is my go-to. Delicious. DCB says summer squashes have a softer flesh if you pick them smaller. Definitely. Like that little green Magda, you just nick it a little bit and it'll turn brown. DCBs, is that what happened, Shawnee? A child helper? No, actually, so I was trying to top my tomatoes because it's coming down to crunch time. They don't need to be flowering and putting on all this extra growth. They just need to ripen what they have. And so I'm in there chopping, and then I realized I'm chopping stuff that had fruit on it. My bad. It's gonna be okay. Good evening, Janet. Welcome to our conversation about when to harvest, store, and preserve things. Bowtie says we have a recipe coming out for taking cucumbers when you have too many and making tasty snack chips out of them. I will have to look for that. I did get a littler bucket worth of cucumbers, and I'm almost out of juice. So the drawer in the fridge is going to get juiced, and I'll probably use the bucket too. But I'm out of celery, so I need to buy celery. Well, I have some in the garden. Maybe I'll harvest some of my celery. I don't know. I like saving that for soups because it's so punchy. I'm trying to find some more. What's this one? DCB says the deer topped mine good back when they got in. They haven't been back. So what you did to keep them out is working. That's great. Oh, Destiny Fitzgerald says, "Oh my gosh, made it. Hello, everyone. We are just talking about how we know when to harvest things and what do we do if it's underripe because we harvested it accidentally, and what are some tips on preserving things that are maybe quick and easy." There are plenty of links in the description to help you guys have some homework, some reading. Mother Earth Garden Club says, "Hi, everyone. Welcome to this." All right, back into the informational part. We did the cucumber conversation, right? Maybe? No? Their superpower is crunchy and hydrating with a mild cooling effect. Unusual uses. Quick pickles. I feel like that's not unusual. What? Grated into a salad. Grated? Have you ever grated your cucumber? I slice it. And then a yogurt dip. Those weren't unusual. Those are all normal things. Now, no experience with this, but green bananas that are not fully ripe. Why would you have one? I don't have a clue. I don't know. But here's what happens. I guess the superpower is resistant starch acts as a prebiotic for gut health and helps stabilize blood sugar. Unusual uses: bake the green banana flour into pancakes or bread, and then you can fry it as a chip. No experience there. Hello, Wickeshire. Welcome to the conversation. Mangoes, if they're green, are underripe. Wouldn't you just let them ripen? Maybe they don't ripen off of the tree. I don't know. This is just some quick facts that I'm pulling up. Fact check me. Superpower is rich in pectin and vitamin C. Unusual uses: make tangy pickles or chutneys and blend into spicy sauces. Now, I could see a mango going in a spicy sauce. Don't we see, habanero mango together all the time? What happens if you've harvested your potatoes too early because you were just so excited? Well, that is a fancy gourmet treat. The new little baby potatoes, high in nutrients, is their superpower before starch is fully developed. Unusual uses: baby potatoes are perfect roasted whole or make crunchy new potato chips. I've seen where you boil it and then smash it and then cover it in cheese and oil and salt and pepper and roast it, which is a lot of steps, but hey. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the stream, give it a like. It helps more gardeners like you find all of us. I also have live streams on vertical gardens, storing vegetables for the hunger gap, and growing food in small spaces. Those are all linked in the description below. There's also a playlist for building our self-resilient garden series. So, the simple preservation hierarchy for easy teaching here, okay? What's the best way to use our food, everyone? You eat it right away. Planning the meals around your peak harvest as it comes in. Growing enough to eat. The short-term storage, having it in that refrigerator. The root cellar. Again, if you don't have a root cellar, there's a link in the description on what to do if you don't have a root cellar. There's all kinds of ways you can create spaces. And then cold storage. Next level, after you've ate what you can and you still have more, good job, by the way, you can freeze most things. Very beginner friendly, minimal equipment. Sometimes you're blanching something, which means to introduce the vegetable to hot boiling water for so much time, take it out of that and put it in a cold iced bath for so much time, dry it off, freeze it. Dehydrating is a simple way to extend fruit and veggies. I am just starting that, like I said tonight. First experiment with that. And then, of course, there's your canning. Your water bath canning would be the first level. For jam, sauces, salsa, and shelf-stable meals would be pressure canning. Then there's fermenting, which adds nutrition. It is one of those things in the preservation world that holds the most nutrition if you compare it to any other method. There was a great conversation between the podcast that Seed Time has and the Homesteading RD, who is a Minnesota grower. She was sharing her journey about switching from being an RD in the more medical field to a holistic RD and growing food and what to do with the food. I love watching her channel. Always use non-chlorinated water in your ferments. Never use iodized salt. Stick to sea salt. Cover loosely to allow gases to escape. We don't need things going, right? Sometimes it's good to put a plate under the jar if you feel like you've overfilled it. Squash that's picked too early. Your summer squash, zucchini, or yellow squash, if they're tiny, use like baby squash, perfect for stir fries, grilling whole. I'm going to make a soup. If you haven't seen the book reveal of the recipes, the raised bed garden, and there was 3 books. Build your own apothecary. That was the previous live stream, Monday night, I believe, where I shared what I'm going to do with that little summer squash behind me. Shred for baking in bread or fritters or pancakes. I hear about grandmas making zucchini pancakes all the time. Question: how to find non-chlorinated water for the ferment? So for me, I live in town and I know that my city puts chlorine in the water. So that's how I know I have chlorine water. What I have to do is run it through a filter pitcher. I have a pitcher on the counter that has a filter in it, and it's from Pure One might be the brand. I don't think it matters what filter you use. So I have to put it through that. That's one option. Second option is use well water. I don't know anything about well water being bad for ferments, so correct me if that's a thing. Or I've used distilled water where you buy it in a jug, distilled water, right? Now, I wouldn't trust just leaving my water sit out to dechlorinate and evaporate overnight from my city water unless I know that the type of chlorine that the city is using is the type that evaporates, because not all types go away. I hope that answers that question. I would like to grow some cabbages and make some sauerkraut that I like, because I'm not a sauerkraut eater at all. And I would like some cabbage to do egg roll mix. So no meat in it, but like the mix. So then when I go to make egg rolls, I just dump that in, right? Destiny says, love, love a frozen fruit popsicle in the middle of winter. It's like, darn, we grew this in the summer and it still tastes so good. I really hope to do that. I am freezing my cucumber juice blends in ice cube trays and then putting the cubes in a freezer container. We have popsicle molds that we could do some stuff with, like once we start getting more fruit in. Because, yes, Bowtie says fermenting, yeah, hot peppers. Blackberry freezer jam says DCB's. Wickershire Project Off Grid says food is fresh eaten if you can grow it. Success seen at Robin Garden's channel. That's right. DCB says my cellar has not roots. Jay says to Robin, I was struggling to remember that name for grated cucumber. Is Robin throwing out fancy words again? Mother Earth says I made some lip melting hot sauce from my peppers, onions, and garlic. Woohoo! Fantastic. DCB says, oh, I just bought a few bags of apples. I'm going to go back and get more and make a bunch of apple chips. I have a front load. Oh, you have an Excalibur dehydrator. Too bad we're not neighbors. I would load that thing up. Robin says, yes, tzatziki Greek sauce has grated cucumber in it. Wow. Question: any super easy ideas on how to preserve green peppers? So I do have a green pepper here. And the things that I've done with it, if you're not, now I have some more tips coming up. So stay tuned. And it involves peppers. Freezing them sliced. So, like, how do you want to use your pepper? Right? I've also done a water bath can. What was it called? It was a bunch of sweet peppers. So it could be green, it can be red, in some kind of brine, because it was water bath, so it was safe, and it was in a ball book. And what I did with it is I would dump it in the crock pot or slow cooker when I did a roast. And it was delicious that way. So preserving a green pepper. You definitely won't be able to stuff the pepper after freezing it because it gets mushy. Cool video project. I just need to film the experiment. We used our older rain gutters and made a bean lettuce trough. Okay, with do-it-yourself 2-liter bottle drip irrigation line, and it's working. All right. Stick the food in the mouth. This is Bowtie. Put a plate under the jar or a great big bowl. Yeah, it just depends on what's going on. Mother Earth Garden Club has a project that has sauerkraut written all over it. Robin says, the sound of the last ketchup lid popping, best sound I've heard this evening. She is busy in the kitchen with the harvest, preserving it. Boiling water. I mean, all these extra steps, you gotta be a planner, right? Because it has to be cooled down. You can't put that hot water in your ferment. DCB says, growing up, mom made bread twice a week, 4 to 8 loaves at a time. We have a big family. Woo! Destiny says the zucchini really should be classified as a survival food as it's prolific. I wonder if they are friends with the potato. Another lovely prolific. Well, I don't want to grow it next year, that's for sure. DCB says, growing up, mom made. Oh, wait, I read that. Bowtie says, I was going to sauerkraut the big head on my 2-year-old Brussels sprout plant, then it totally collapsed. Oh, caraway seeds is in this sauerkraut from Mother Earth Garden Club. Jay says, I bought some small jars with spring kits for ferment. Will be a new skill. I have heard ferment is better for gut health. It is, so they say. I am on the hunt for a good fermenting book, and I said this the other day, Life by Mike G is writing one, and I go to his YouTube channel to watch how he ferments things, recipes and stuff. So I'm really excited about that, and I think it's supposed to come out this fall, and I'm on the email list because I want to get really serious about the fermenting. Yes, the ice cube tray, says Destiny. Mini frozen watermelon cubes. Yeah, and then you blend it as a slushy with other stuff, right? Mother Earth Garden Club says, my fermenting lids arrived by mail today. Everyone's getting into it. Love it. It's okay, DCBs. I do freeze sliced frozen peppers. And then we'll see if we have any more ideas coming up. Wickershire made a post explaining summer and curing winter squash. This is from a 40-year-old farm veteran as a source. He has my phone number. I didn't expect a call for me to go help him harvest. Hard pass. Jay says, I had to make a hasty decision to facilitate my moving to this home and regret not keeping my excellent dehydrator. Oh. Gandalf says, I cut my peppers, then flash freeze them. Yeah, when we flash freeze things, their surface of each of the pieces gets frozen. So when you bag it, it doesn't all stick into a clump of frozen produce. Where if you were just to take it from, I just cut it on my cutting board to in the bag and freeze it, it gets to be kind of a clump. Now, can you pound it on the ground and bang it and they come apart? Of course. Mother Earth is listing some peppers. I put Sugar Rush, Serrano, Jalapeno, Chinese 5-color, and a few shishito peppers in the hot sauce for that one that she was talking about. Bowtie said the last batch I fermented for hot pepper sauce was in a half-gallon mason jar. Whoa. Large bowl was required. What's the thing on the top? Airlock. Did you have an airlock on it or just like a cheesecloth? I'm guessing a cheesecloth. That is right. Jay says to support Shawnee Grows, like, share, watch past videos, become a member, comment. Always. Wickershire is sharing how successful the rain gutter project is going. Beans, peas, leafy greens, skipping raised beds. It's all about how much soil inches the plant needs, right? And if you're adding nutrients, then why not? Well, so somebody, DCBs, bought me a dehydrated watermelon and it creeped me out. Like the texture and look of it. But yeah, I've heard about it. And I really need to get a good dehydrator because only doing one tray at a time is for the birds. Bowtie says, I remembered to share on my YouTube page tonight before she started. Great. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I don't know if I want a freeze dryer because it's like another tool to maintenance and it takes up space and power. Maybe a friend could have one, and then I just like go, oh, hey, here's some trays of stuff and try it that way, right? Oh, Storm's Radios and Cats is here. Bowtie says 2 years ago we forgot to flash freeze our sliced okra. It was a mammoth block of ice. Disgusting. Bowtie says my fermenting jars use the mason top fermenting lid. Those things are great. Airlocks work really good too. Going to this. Okay, so soup for the squash. Back to the squash conversation. Puree underripe winter squash with broth and spices. Makes a creamy soup base. You don't have to puree it if that's not your thing. I am not a blended soup person. It has to be chunky. So I would not blend it, but I would put it in soup. Peppers, if they're picked too early, if picked when green but mature size, most peppers, like bell, jalapeno, banana, are edible at the green stage. They just aren't as sweet or hot as they would be if left to fully ripen. Uses: slice for stir fries or fajitas or a roast or however else you want to use a pepper. Dice for salsa verde or green pepper relish. Chop it into chili bases, soups or stews, adding crunch of flavor. So that's still when it's fresh, but you can also freeze them for those applications. If picked very underripe, like small, pale, very thin walls, these may not ripen well indoors. So you should finely dice and freeze for cooking. The flavor is mild, but they still add a bulk to whatever you're making. There is a way to pickle them in a vinegar brine, a tangy green pepper ring, like an onion ring. Everybody ever done that? An onion ring with a pepper? Roast and blend into sauces for a smoky flavor. I know I want to roast some peppers and dry them and put them in oil like I am with the tomatoes. So ripening off the plant. Peppers can continue to ripen after harvest if they were close to maturity, full size, green but not tiny. So what I did here is I took the whole plant leg, that's what I wanted to say, but that's not the word. This stem, and they were all green. Jeez. They were all green and now they are starting to turn. And then I could just dry them, honestly. So that's one example. Did you see my sweet potato vine house plant that I have going on here? I have more, but this is the only one I brought out today. New project. Place in a warm spot inside a paper bag with an apple or banana to encourage red, yellow, or orange color change. Now you can kind of just forget them on a box on the counter too. You don't have to get fancy. Flavor is usually not as rich and deep compared to when they're ripened on the vine. So some people might want the green pepper to be the green pepper. And so then don't leave it out too long or it might start to mature and change color. Preserving vegetables in unique ways. Smoking is best for peppers, tomatoes, onions, garlic, eggplant, zucchini. Why? It adds flavor and preservation, lowers moisture, and discourages spoilage. Now, I've heard of smoking and drying peppers. I've heard of drying tomatoes, but not smoking them first. Onions and garlic, I've heard of roasting and then blending it into something. My eggplant plant isn't making it this year. First time eggplant grower, and it's a big fail. And then I hear about marinating zucchini or summer squash and then grilling it, but to preserve it in the sense of just to eat it fresh, but not like long term. So here's some examples: smoked chili peppers, grind into smoked chili powder. Robin has experience with this and she has a few tips. What I've heard is smoke the chili pepper or smoke whatever pepper it is and then dehydrate it so it actually is fully dry and store it in a airtight situation whole. And then when you want to use the powder, maybe the day before, put it in the blender and grind it up with like a towel over it and then just let it settle till the poof goes back down because you don't want to open it right after you've done blending because it'll do this, right? Um, Smoking tomatoes. Is that the same as roasting them? Because I love roasting the tomatoes. I just did that and made sauce and made lasagna for sauces or soups. I have a little bit that I can put in the soup that we're going to make next because I'm still eating the one soup that I made. There's something in here that I just. Okay, Jay says to Shawnee whispers, eggs come from chickens, not plants. Someone was fooling you. Did I say eggs come from a plant? If I did, I'm sorry. DCB says you can dehydrate honey down. You want to use the lowest temp, and it takes a while, but it makes like rock candy, and you can grind it and make honey sugar. I didn't know that. That's super cool. A mirepoix from Mother Earth Garden Club, carrot, celery, onion cooked together in butter. Um, if you don't select the poll, like if you don't answer the poll, you can hit the 3 dots and say, I don't know what it says. Delete poll, or it's just for you. It doesn't take it out for everybody. If you haven't done, oh, the eggplant. Jay, you're so funny. So the question is what do you do when you pick something too early? Try to ripen it indoors, cook it underripe, preserve it, or toss it in the compost pile. We have 14 votes, 19 here. We'll end that in a couple minutes. Soup, note that Shawnee wants to chew you. That's right. The freezing of the mirepoix is what that conversation was. Yes, it does. It's like a prep thing that helps cooking. DCB says, Shawnee, get one of the rear fan models. They're more efficient than the top fan. Okay. I wanted the 9-tray Excalibur. Dehydrator. Where is that going to live, though? In the living room? I mean, there's no room for any appliances in my kitchen. Okay, Destiny says, like, you can smoke your harvested vegetables and with the meat in the smoker. Yes. My hubby still likes his meat, but got to force into veggies. Yes. Yep. So I don't have any recipes, I don't think, in the description for smoked garden vegetables, but Destiny, if you look up, Garden Like a Viking might have some videos about it. Use your searching skills and introduce some of that into your life. DCB says, yeah, once the honey is dry, it's a solid sugar crystal, and you can then grind that down into the powdered sugar. Mother Earth has grilled poblanos. Yes, yeah, the eggplant. Everybody's so funny. I was like, what? Wickershire is sharing about squash ready-to-eat crops with no curing is your delicata, your acorn, your sweet dumplings, spaghetti squash, and pie pumpkins, winter luxury pulled before frost. There are more tomatoes ripe on the vine, says Barry. That's fantastic. Excalibur is pricey, but I bet you it lasts, 10 years or more, right? You divide that out by how many times you're going to use it per year, and then that's your how much cost was it to run it each time then? It's worth the money if you use it enough. If it just sits and collects dust, then why would you do that, right? Robin says, I make Anaheim pepper powder, dehydrated. I did grind all of it. Didn't seem to impact the flavor. If you've not tried it, I encourage you to because the powder is an absolute flavor bomb. Thank you for sharing Garden Like a Viking, Jay. Destiny goes, use your searching skills and add some of that to your life. Shawnee's quotable quote of the night. Look at you, Destiny. Oh yeah, DCBs. I can't remember what there's like it's not Excalibur, but it's this, and it's just like it. I can't remember it might be in my Amazon cart somewhere. Okay. So we were talking about drying. Did I even read this? Drying, best for tomatoes, peppers, beans, okra, herbs, squash. Method, sun drying, dehydrator or oven on low temp, which takes a long time. Examples, sun-dried tomatoes and olive oil, dried okra for snacking, dehydrated veggie powders, great for soups or seasonings, smoothies, right? And then preserving in honey. What is that? What? I was supposed to harvest some lemon thyme today to put in honey, which I'm out of honey, and forgot to pick the thyme, which I guess good, because I'm out of honey now that I'm saying all this out loud. So garlic we see this with, hot peppers we see this with. I did a video on top 5 fermented honey blends. Ginger, herbs like thyme. Why? Honey is naturally antimicrobial, so it creates a shelf stable infusion. When I do the ferment and preserving in honey, I let it sit until it's done and then it goes in the fridge. So, your garlic honey, great for colds and flavoring, pepper honey, sweet heat glaze for chicken and bread or whatever. Ginger honey, you can add some lemon and cinnamon to that, and soothing, you add it to your tea. So, let's end the poll. I will put it in the chat. We got 15 minutes left and I'm hungry. I hope this answered some questions, and I have some good resources for you in the description. The gardeners that have the tried and true recipes are putting tips and tricks in the chat, so make sure you read it. So here's the poll for those in the replay. You can answer too. What do you do when you pick something too early? Everybody mostly lets it try to ripen indoors. Some people toss it in the compost pile depending on what's going on. And 0 people voted for cook it underripe and preserve it, but it depends on the thing, as we've learned here together. It depends on the thing, right? DCBs, my summer honey has already crystallized, my spring hasn't. Oh, interesting. Robin Garden says we were talking on Diva in the Dirt's channel about smoking the paprika peppers first. Thinking of trying that on the grill, yes, but I think when I go to dehydrate, I bet the house will smell smoky. Yes, and if that bothers you, I guess move the dehydrator to another location? I don't know. Okay. Wikishara says the crops for the squash that need curing to last on your shelf for that hunger gap in the winter. Butternut squash, honey nut squash, candy roaster squash, Hubbard kabocha, black futsu, uh, Georgia candy roaster squash, Tesuka budo, and Seminole pumpkins. This is a suggestion for a food dehydrator, backpacking chef. The Excalibur. Yeah, I like it because there's no plasticky weird coating. You don't have to rotate anything. It does a full fan situation. So when I see people smoke peppers, it's with charcoal and you make a charcoal snake. I don't know what Robin is going to use. I think she does have a gas grill. I don't remember. She has a Weber, if I remember right. Robin says, I wonder if the dehydrator will carry that smoke over to the next thing I would dehydrate. Oh, anyone have experience with this? I don't have experience, and I'm wondering if there's something you do in between runs to clean out the air in it. It's a great question, and it's a concern because not everything you want smoky. Way to think ahead, Robin. Wickershire says, I have method for charcoal style to smoke anything. And we do have the Urban Gardener shows Saturday and Sunday, 1 p.m. Central Time. You might see me over there in the chat. Come on down. Okay, so yeah, I think there's special things you have to buy and attachments and doohickeys if you use a gas grill to smoke. It's a whole different thing. Yeah, right. Smoky fruit leather? No. Robin. Good point. Um, I hope, I mean, I could Google it, but I feel like we need to speak to someone that's done it because I've had someone tell me a story where they got a dehydrator at a garage sale and went to use it and quickly found out what was used by the previous owner in it and had to throw it out because it wasn't gonna come clean. What are we doing? Let's see, is it Wednesday? So Thursday is the other day we possibly have shows here at Shawnee Grows at 9 p.m. Central Time. And it all depends on work and life. So, like yesterday, I didn't go live because I felt terrible and had a bunch of work to do. There's over 1,000 pieces of mail, and it's just like, I don't want to talk or teach to people right now. The shows we have coming up are, I don't have the banners. I had to take all my banners out to make all the information for this show. So I'll have to redo all of the fun ones that I have normally. The link that Jay put out was actually about a bunch of them and many factors. So if you are the type of shopper that wants to see all the pros and cons of all the things, that's where you should go, to that link above. Thank you, Jay. How to build your medicinal garden for anywhere from beginner to expert. We can talk about uh, the basics of what we kind of should understand with medicinal gardens and our bodies and how to heal ourselves, right? So that's a show in itself. There also is, like I said, a gardener's game night that I'm trying to work up. That's just like a funsies thing. Different types of would you rather or Q&As or stuff like that. We're not going to play, words on stream for that one. The game that makes our brains hurt right here. Barry says hickory smoked fruit roll-ups for the adults. Radio Jonesy says, but tomato leaves crisp up good in a dehydrator. Somebody showed me, it was Diva in the Dirt, showed me how to do, it was in her video about the squash. Butter sage? And I have tons of sage, and I've never done that before. Words are hard, yes. I don't think I have any other live streams planned. We have 9 minutes. I could cut it earlier than that if there's nothing to say in the chat. I have all of this beautiful harvest to put away after the show. I'm blocked in right now. I'm trapped. I'm trapped. And it smells great, by the way. Robin says to Wickershire, if I dehydrated the peppers and then smoked them, do you think that would work? I don't know. Everyone always smokes them first. We gotta look this up, Robin. Now I'm concerned. Wickershire says we've smoked cold, cured nearly everything in a large cardboard. Yes, cardboard. With a 1500 watt single electric burner. Stove is commonly called a hot plate or a single burner electric stove. Barry says, to have with your favorite adult beverage, we do have recipes in the description for shrubs. If you want to make a shrub. Wickershire says, so if I can do it in a cardboard box, a metal charcoal grill will work. I am trapped by excellent food choices. Eat your way out. Yes. Mother Earth says, I got my hot sauce from the Pioneer Woman. Oh, okay. I do have a bunch of Sugar Rush peach peppers coming in soon, and I need to do fermented and then turn it into sauces, and I should mix them with other peppers, it sounds like. I don't know. I haven't sat down and dug out a recipe for any of that yet. I have a bunch of shishitos that will probably pan fry, and so when you let them sit on the plant, they do start to turn red, the shishito. And then my Hungarian hot wax are starting to turn finally. And then this, I think, is a jalapeno. I know it's spicy. Turn red. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just kind of planted stuff. DCB says, oh, Shawnee Kaylee over at the Honey said she uses her freeze dryer for the herbs leaves. I've heard that when you freeze dry the herbs, it's so much better than when you air dry or dehydrate or whatever. She says it works much better than drying it. Yes, yeah, I saw that and I heard that and I believe it. Right? Howie is here. Good evening. We are on our way out. You'll have to catch the replay. Yeah, you want to see my harvest, Howie? I grew this watermelon. This is the outside color. We are going to save seeds and replant next year. It's a good one. I'm super proud of it. And then all of our tomatoes and peppers. I didn't grow the pears or the peaches. Oh, I didn't show the grapes either. This all came from the fruit truck. Since I can't grow it, I gotta have a farmer grow it for me. Look at that. They're super yummy. The pears aren't ready yet, and we've had like one peach that turned ready to eat out of the box, the case. We bought cases off the truck and split it between 3 households. And it's all for fresh eating. I don't have enough to even, I mean, maybe I can make a pear juice with my steam juicer that I've never used. Bought it and I haven't used it. What else we got? Oh, I harvested potatoes today, Howie. The first round. I have 3 plantings total. So, pretty happy with that. I did them in the food forest with the wood chips on the sunny side, and I never watered them. I just top dressed it with compost. And I have a short coming out that shows some volunteer squash growing up in an evergreen tree. It's pretty neat. Yeah, Mother Earth, I agree. And then I kind of grew stuff all together. So things might have pollinated each other and made things more spicy than they're supposed to. DCB says she was saying from the appearance of the freeze-dried herbs or leaf, they retained much more of the original color and structure. Yeah, and flavor, I think, too. Yep. Uh, Barry goes, yes, because there are pioneers in 2025. Robin says, Shawnee grows, does the shishito pepper flavor change when they turn red? Good question. I should let it turn more red. Or do I have one that's really red in here? When I cook it, I can let you know. I don't want to eat it raw. This one's more red. Usually that means, yeah, the flavor changes, right? Because the color changes. So this one smells like, whoa, that's a shishito pepper, right? And this one's dull. Like I'm not getting a smell. And this one's really firm. This one's more soft, just based on those observations. And I actually ripped the 2 plants out, and I have like 2 or 3 more because I'm, like I said the other day, just burn them down. There's too many. Wickershire says to Robin, I have to look up if dehydrated foods allow for in-part smoke absorption. Normally, raw foods work best. Be right back looking up the tech side. So, Howie, maybe you know. We're talking about smoking a pepper on a grill, like a charcoal grill or a smoker, and then finishing the drying process in a dehydrator. So, to make it shelf stable. The concern is that the smoky smell is going to sit in the dehydrator, and so everything you dehydrate after that, like fruit leather, is going to be smoky. So a question is can we dehydrate it and then smoke it? And I said, I don't think I've ever seen it done that way. And I have no clue if the aroma stays in the dehydrator or if there's something you run in between batches to desmokify it. I don't have a clue. I've never done it. I'm dehydrating tomatoes for the first time. Cherry tomatoes, and it's taking forever. Oh yeah, Jay says newsflash on Emmanuel's Growing Generations podcast today. Tony O'Neill announced he is working on a very, very detailed app. So go check out the replay over there. Robin says those potatoes would make yummy fries to go with her ketchup. Ketchup recipes vary extremely between people, and it's a shame that we can't taste each other's ketchup. Um, Wickershire says raw peppers take full smoke, semi-dry take semi-partial smoke flavoring. Dry peppers are a mixed bag of nuts, not fully imparting flavor, but smells adheres, so smell versus flavor. Howie says, I tried to watch some of your vids, but it's members only. Oh, okay, I wish to be a member, but I don't use the computer for loot transfer. Right. Well, maybe you'll get gifted one. I wish I could gift you one specifically, Howie, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately, at this time with YouTube when people give gifted memberships. By the way, if Miss Sharon is listening, peace, love to you. I hope you're okay. Um, with your eyes and stuff. Hopefully, maybe you'll get gifted one, Howie, because I wish I could control the gift thing. And then Jay says, second news flash this Saturday. Jay is the guest talking about autumn gardening while giving out Halloween treats to kids. Usually would be in costume. What? Yes, dehydrate and then smoke is okay. All right. Here's the link to where we were earlier, and we are on our way out. Oh, Howie, I will pray to the gift gods. That's cute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Howie. Okay. Grow every day in every way. Check out the links below. Watch the playlist for growing your self resilient garlic, and I will see you all next time for a great show with all of you.